Let's solve today's LeetCode question, water bottles 2. Here you are given two integers, num bottles and num exchange. And now num bottles represents the number of full water bottles that you initially have. Num bottle means firstly you have full empty bottles, and how many full empty bottles you have. This is represented by 9 bottles. In one operation you can perform one of the following operations. Here you can perform two operations but once a time you can perform only one operation. Drink any number of full water bottles, turn them into empty bottles. Let's say you have 3 water bottles. You can drink full whole 3 bottles and you can turn them into empty bottles. Now, then other operation is exchange empty bottles with one full water bottle. Then increase num exchange by one. What this sentence means? If you have three empty bottles, and num exchange, let's say num exchange is 2, means in a shop you can go and give 2 empty bottles and get one full bottle. This is what num exchange means. Let's understand the question first. If you understand this question completely, then you can solve it within a minute. I think you guys understood what is num exchange. Num exchange, I will say you again. Num exchange means if you have in a shop you can give, if num exchange is 2, in a shop you can give 2 bottles and I get one full bottle. And here, then increase the num exchange by 1. At first time if you go to a shop, then give 2 empty bottles and get one full bottle. Then next time you can go and you should give 3 empty bottles. 2 will not be valid because once a time every increases by 1, num exchange will be increases by 1. Note that you cannot exchange multiple batches of empty bottles for the same value of num exchange. I will explain you what is this. Let's say you have 6 empty bottles and a shop wants a num exchange is 2, and once a time you go and exchange, you give 2 empty bottles and get one full bottle. Once a time you can't directly give 4 empty bottles and get two full bottles. You should get only one full bottle at a time, not 2 3. You should get only, note that you read this statement again. Note that you cannot exchange multiple batches, only one batch means you can give only 2 bottles and get one full bottle at the same time. For example, num bottles is 3, you have 3 uh, bottles and num exchange is 1. You cannot give all 3 and get 3 full bottles once a time. First time you should go and give one bottle and get one full bottle, it's continuously, and next time you should go and give 2 bottles, like that. Let's say I will explain you through example. Here initially, read this table, understand this table. Initially you have 13 full bottles. Let's say you have, firstly they have given you a 13 full bottles and you have empty bottles is 0. And num exchange, you can give once a time. If you go and give 6 bottles, then they will give one full bottle. And how many bottles drunk? 0. This is initially given. So now you can perform two operations. Either you can exchange or you can drink. Here you can't exchange because you don't have empty bottles. Empty bottles are 0 here, and num exchange is 6. You should give 6 to get one full bottle. Here you have empty bottles are 0. So first drink initially. If you have full bottles, then drink them. If you have full bottles, then drink them. Then uh, at a second step, it's a first sen at a first step you should drink all full bottles. Then how much your full bottles will be? 0. Then empty bottles will be 13, because you drank all full bottles and made them empty, and number of exchange is same, 6, and that bottles drunk is 13. Here you only drink, not any other operations. Then next step you go, and in the next step you have empty bottles. Now you can exchange. How many empty bottles you have? 13. And num exchange is 6. Here you should give, firstly you give 6 bottles and get one full bottle. Here directly you cannot give 12 bottles and get two full bottles. Here you should give once time, one set at a time. Here you give first 6 bottles and get one empty bottle, get one full bottle. Here among 13 empty bottles, first you give 6 bottles. Then what is the remaining amount? 7 empty bottles will be remain. Then 7 empty bottles will be remain. For 6, how many full bottles you get? 1. Here one full bottle you get, and remaining empty bottles are 7. The num exchange. At one time, your num exchange will be increased by 2. Increased by 1. If you go for the next time, you should give 7. You should give 7 empty bottles to get one full bottle. Last time you are given 6. Now next time you should give 7. Then num exchange will become 7. Here you are not drinking any bottles, then bottle drunk will be remain same. Here next, you should check for the empty bottles whether you can exchange or not. Here you have 7 and the num exchange will be 7. You can exchange because you can give 7 empty bottles to get. Here you can use 7 empty bottles to get one full bottle. Now you have 7 empty bottles. This is a valid case. Then now you give these 7 empty bottles to the shop and get another one full bottle. Now how much full bottles you have? 2. Then empty bottles will be 7 empty bottles will be 0. Because you have given all the 7 bottles and got one full bottle. And then your num exchange will again increase by 1. 1. Then bottles drunk will be no, you here you are not drinking any bottles. Here again drink 2 bottles. Now you are left. Here you can exchange or not. Now you can't exchange because empty bottles are lesser the number of exchange. So now you will drink 2 bottles again. Drink 2 bottles, then empty bottles will be 2 because you drank all the 2 bottles. Then empty bottles will be 2. Then here you can't exchange because next step you can check for exchange. You can't exchange because empty bottles are lesser than num exchange. So the total drunk will be 15. Now you can't do any of the operation. You can't drink because 0 full bottles. You can't exchange. So you have to return this bottles drunk. This is what the question is. I will explain you the code. Class solution, they are given full bottles, number of full bottles and number of exchange. How many bottles you can exchange. First you can count 0. Count will be 0. Number of bottles drunk count. Number of E means number of empty bottles. When you have first you can have at least number of bottles will be greater than 0, means number of fully bottles greater than 0, or while means you have to check until exchange. You can exchange or you can drink any of this operation. If you can perform any of this operation, you should go inside. Here if first check for the exchange, you can exchange or not. If empty bottles are greater than or equal to exchange. If you have 8 empty bottles, and you can exchange is 7, so that you can give 7 empty bottles and get one full bottle. Then empty bottle will be remaining will be 1. Here num bottles means here for a time you can get one bottle, then your num bottle will be increased by 1, and empty bottles will be you have 8 empty bottles. For 7 empty bottles you can exchange. 8 minus 7, it will become 1. Empty bottle will be 1 and num exchange will be incremented by 1, because every time you have to increase. For the next time if you go, your exchange rate will be increased by 1. Here you can do this operation when you can exchange, or you can do this operation if you can't exchange. You should drink all the bottles. So now if you have, let's say you have 2 full bottles, and then you are drinking 2 full bottles. Then what is your empty bottles? Firstly you have 2 empty bottles and if 2 full bottles. Now you drank 2 full bottles, then empty bottles will be incremented by the 2. Here empty bottles will be first 2, then 2, then it will become 4. Then count will be also incremented by before count is, let's say you have before count 10, then you again bottles drunk is 2, then it will become 12. Then num bottles will be, because you are drinking all the bottles, the num bottles will be 0. You should repeat this condition and return the number of count total, how many bottles you drank. This is what your code. I think you guys understood. Thank you for giving your time. This is I am trying for my understanding and everything. Please like, share and comment.